This one honestly worries me for the United States of America. I'll be very, very honest. So in Matthew 11, Jesus is leaving these two cities, Chorazin and Bethsaida. If you go read your Gospels, a lot of people miss this. He does a disproportionate amount of supernatural healing and work in these two areas, Chorazin and Bethsaida. But they don't, in general, they don't believe him. So then as he leaves, he says, he shakes the dust off his feet. By the way, a lot of Christians don't know this. The reason that they, quote, shake the dust off their feet in the Bible, why Jesus says this, is when they do that, he's saying judgment will come on this city because of your unbelief. I don't even want to have a speck of dust from this city on my sandals because judgment will fall on every speck of dust. So when they do that in the Bible, that's what they're alluding to future judgment. So he does that, and then he says, "Woe to you, Chorazin, woe to you, Bethsaida. For if the mighty works done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon," which were two really evil places in the Old Testament, "they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you," listen to this, "it will be more bearable on the day of judgment for Tyre and Sidon," who, by the way, were much more overtly wicked than Chorazin and Bethsaida. "It will be more bearable on the day of judgment for Tyre and Sidon than for you. And you, Capernaum, will you be exalted to heaven? Will you be brought down to Hades? For if the mighty works done in you had been done in Sodom," so this is obviously, we know the story of Sodom, "it would have remained until this day." In other words, Jesus is saying these, perverse, degenerate people, he's gone, I knew their hearts. They would have repented if they saw what you saw. Wow. And then he says, "It would have remained to this day, but I tell you that it will be more tolerable for Sodom on the day of judgment than for you." That passage honestly makes me shudder for the United States of America, because in the history of the world, arguably no nation has ever been exposed to more spiritual light and truth than the United States of America. And we have turned our back on the living God and wandered into degeneracy and spit in his face. When I read that passage, I genuinely shudder that the living Lord Jesus from heaven is saying, "Woe to you, United States of America." Because if anybody else had seen what you would have seen, they would have repented as a nation and come to me. So take that to heart.